Oh, hello everyone. I am super excited to make this video because this is the video that I have wanted to do on my channel since I started my YouTube, as I am talking about a genre that I love very much, and that is actually dark romance. So today's video, I'm going to give you a little taste of some of my favorite dark romances that I'm absolutely obsessed with right now. Some of these are ones that I've read recently and I can't get them off my mind, and then some of them are old, tried and true favorites. I think one of my favorite things about dark romance as a genre is that there's so many different kinds of books that also fall into dark romance and can be labeled as dark romances, such as, taboo forbidden books, mafia books, monster romances. So any video on my page that I label as like a dark romance recommendation video, I really just want to stick to books that are that like don't fall into any of those other categories, because those are separate videos that I want to do down the road. I don't want this video to be 100 minutes long, which is why I only narrowed it down to 10 books today. But please let me know if you would like to see another part to this video. I can definitely give you more recs. So first thing, obviously reading is subjective. Something that I could find very dark, you personally maybe won't find it that dark, or something I don't think is that dark you could find very, very dark. And with all of these books, I'm just going to say for all of them, please check your trigger warnings. Dark romance is, a genre that if you see any book recommended as a dark romance book and you have triggers, please do your research and try to find them. There are websites that you can look up. A lot of them are listed actually at the front of the book. A lot of trigger warnings you can find on authors' websites. So there are places to check, if there are any topics in books that, maybe you're a little sensitive to. Okay, so I think I said everything that had to be said. I am super excited. Let's just get right on into some dark romances that I am just obsessed with. I don't even know what order to start in, but let's actually start with a very obvious pick, if you know me, to put in here. And you know what? This is actually a great example of a book that is for sure a dark romance, as a lot of dark stuff happens in here, but it is also, a taboo forbidden romance as well. But I had to put it in here, and that is Welcome to the Dark Side by Gianna Darling. This is book 2 in her Fallen Men series. This is simply put my favorite book of all time. I have a tattoo for this book because me and Daddy Zeus are stuck together forever. I know it sounds weird to say that one of my comfort books is also, like a dark romance, but I truly will pick up this book at any moment and reread like my favorite parts, and just honestly reread any part, and I'm just happy and I'm excited and I'm just instantly in a better mood because I love this book so much. The whole Fallen Men series is about a motorcycle club in Canada, and basically all of the books in the Fallen Men series are age gap forbidden romances. This book is about Zeus and Lulu. You can technically also read any Fallen Men book as a standalone. I think they're way more fun to read in order. Zeus is actually the head of the motorcycle club, and Lulu is a little girl that the book starts with Zeus saving her from like a shooting in the street when she is a little girl. He actually ends up going to jail for that. They start to write letters to each other in jail. Well, really, she reaches out to him because she's like, this is the guy who saved me in jail. And he's like, why is this little girl sending me letters in jail? He's like, this isn't right. But he does, grow to form like a little bit of an attachment to her because Lulu does have cancer, and she talks about how she feels like an outcast. And then they get reunited years later when Lulu is just about to turn 18. So again, if you're not comfortable with age gaps like that, you're not gonna like this book. This book is very emotional. Like I said, Lulu does have cancer, and that is something that is, prominent throughout the entire book. Some other sad stuff happens as well, but really at the end of the day, Zeus and Lulu are just true soulmates. Like, you feel their connection. It just comes to life off of the page. And I'll never forget experiencing this book for the first time. That's why it's my all-time favorite book. Zeus is just my favorite bookman that I've ever read in my entire life. He is just my dream, and this book is just my all-time favorite because it's so me. Like, I remember the first time I put this book down after I finished it, I was like, Gianna wrote that book for me. Of course, I had to sneak it in this video because it is my all-time favorite, but like I said, it does, you know, it's a dark romance for sure. This is a dark romance series, but it also is like forbidden and taboo as well. So if I do one of those videos down the road, this will for sure be in there. But you know, any chance to talk about my husband, mwah, I'm gonna take it. Then for a book that I've talked about a couple times on my page, but it truly is a dark romance that will not leave me. And let me tell you, this is probably, aside from one more book that I'm going to put in this video, this has to be, I think, the darkest book that I'm going to talk about. And that is Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. This is also probably, again, like the #1 book on this list that I don't think is really for everyone. This is really for dark romance people, and this is absolutely not one that you start with. So this book follows Dolly and Rabbit, and this book really stood out to me, and one of the reasons why it was on my radar for a while is because it is like a dark and twisted tale inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So our main character Dolly uses Alice in Wonderland as, you know, something to distract her from the trauma that she experienced when she was a child. So this is a bloody, when I tell you bloody, 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 a tale of revenge. It starts with Rabbit and Dolly when they are kids. There is graphic essay of children on page. It was really very disturbing to read about. Like, it almost brought me to tears because it is on page. Obviously that's meant to just make the book, you know, more impactful, but I just want to give that as a warning because I know that's not going to be for everyone. And then once you push past, you know, the darkness of their childhood, you get to them as adults and then their tale for revenge. And these two are absolutely crazy. Okay, they really are like little psychopaths that you shouldn't be rooting for, but at the same time, you obviously are rooting for them to, you know, unalive everyone who's done them wrong because they really have been through so much. This is just still, like I said, one of my favorite dark romances ever, ever, ever. I read it how many months ago? Can't even remember. And I still think about it all the time. I have 3 different versions of this book. And I just love it. I really think it's something special, but really, really, really won't be for everyone. Then for another all-time favorite, we have the Mind F series by S.T. Abbey. I mean, come on now. This is definitely more of, I would say, a universal safe choice to recommend for dark romance, because I don't think I've seen a single person pick up this series and not be obsessed with it, because I mean, how can you not be obsessed with it? We have a female serial unaliver, another tale of revenge. Listen, I love a bloody tale of revenge, okay? I love it so, so much. I love to see powerful women getting justice, okay? It's just mwah. So this series follows Lana and Logan. So Lana is, you know, like I said, the serial unaliver out for revenge. She's been through very traumatic stuff in her life. While this series is very popular and I know a lot of people love it, again, quite dark, and you know, there definitely is some descriptions of what happens to Lana, so please make note of that. So Lana's been through, she's literally been to hell and back, and then she ends up dating Logan, who is an FBI agent, and you would never guess one of the serial killers that he's trying to hunt down happens to be his new girlfriend. This is a 5-book series, but they are basically like novella length. Every book ends on a cliffhanger, so you're going to want to binge them back to back to back to back. Pretty sure I finished the series in like 2 to 3 days. I couldn't put them down. They are available on Kindle Unlimited, and audiobooks are out now as well, which is incredible. I think I'm waiting for the final book to come out on audio, and then I'm going to binge listen again, and I'm so excited to experience this series on audio. I cried during the last book. Lana and Logan just also mean so much to me. They're one of those couples that I'm absolutely obsessed with. Lana is one of my favorite characters of all time. This is one of my favorite books of all time as well. It's just so perfect. And another series that while I was reading it, I was like, this is so me. It's so me that it hurts. You may have already heard of this, you may have already picked it up, but just in case it's not on your radar, the Mind F series is just an absolute must. A must, a must, a must. Let's go into the only book here that I don't have a physical copy of, but it was actually one of the books that inspired me to make this video, because I did listen to it this month and I am truly obsessed. That is That Sick Love by Jessie Hall. Now, this book, honestly, this book is tied with Sick Fucks as the darkest on this list. And let me tell you, this book is cuckoo bananas crazy. This book is not for everyone. If you have never picked up a dark romance in your life, don't you dare start here, because this book is, it's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. But the thing is, it's so good. And I think it was just so well done. And let me tell you, The Shining Star is really the audiobook. I experienced this book on audio, and let me tell you, the audiobook is an experience. It is hands down the best audiobook I've ever listened to in my life, I think, honestly, point blank period. It is duet narration, and the narrators are Joe Arden and Desiree Ketchum. And I really think Joe Arden as the psychopath stalker Arrow really just put his heart and soul into that performance. Like, the rent was due and Joe Arden said, let me give everything that I have into playing this psychopath stalker right now. This is also a book that I don't want to spoil for you, because so many twists and turns happen, and I feel like most people, when they describe this book, really just talk about it very vaguely and are like, it's the story of a girl who is being stalked and she's actually in a cult, and basically the stalker wants her to get out of the cult. And we'll leave it at that, and other twists and turns happen. But this is a true dark, 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 dark romance. I feel like everything that's dark happens in this book, and then even things that just, my jaw was on the floor. I feel like especially at the end of this book, like, it's also incredibly spicy too. Like, the spice in here, crazy. I'm so excited to read more from Jessie Hall because I really liked her writing. And yeah, I just think that this book is very unique. Another book that I read this month that I'm absolutely obsessed with and I cannot wait to talk about, we have Brutal Obsession by S. Massery. I feel like the only thing that I need to say about this book is that another stalker, but he's a psycho hockey player. It was really fun to read a dark hockey romance, and let me tell you, this book is dark. This book is also, I would say, bully. It's a bully romance as well. They are in college, and I remember I saw Chandler in one of her reading vlogs read this book, and all she had to do was describe the plot, which is little, you know, like the opening of the book, the setup for the book, basically, and I was sold. Because I was like, that sounds so batshit crazy. Until I read that book, I will not have peace. So the book starts off with Grayson, who is this really rich and privileged, you know, hockey player. He's driving his car, he is drunk, and you would never guess, he gets into a car accident, and in the other car is our girl Violet. And Violet actually had dreams of being a dancer. She loved to dance, she's on the dance team at school, etc., etc. They get in a car accident and he leaves her at the scene. I mean, wow, what a real stand-up guy. Like, truly, the way this book makes you root for this man is crazy. Anyways, he leaves her at the scene. Of course, because he's rich and privileged, it gets covered up, and then they are reunited at college, and Grayson, you know, they know who each other is, like, right away, and Grayson just sees Violet, and he's like, he's obsessed, and he's like, that's mine. And again, it's bully, it's college, it's spicy. It was on my radar forever, and I finally read it, and I do think it lived up to all of the expectations. I mean, I loved it so much, I literally ordered this edition right from S. Mastery signed and the next 2 books in the series. Okay, and then switching gears to a dark romance that I actually would recommend for beginners, that I actually also read very recently, and that is Gothicana by Runix. There was so much about this book that, like, had my jaw on the floor, and I just had the absolute best time with it. She ends up at this college, and then the main guy, he's a professor, but he also is a student there as well because he's trying to get a different degree, and he's like he plays piano also, and like one night she hears him playing the piano and she like sneaks in on him, and they just have this connection that cannot be, you know, denied. And also really creepy stuff is happening at this academy where every year there's like this dance that they still host, like this masquerade ball, and someone always goes missing. I purchased the audiobook a while ago. I finally listened to it and I just had such a fun time. This is the perfect fall spooky season read, again because of the murder mystery plot. You get that great forbidden element in here too. It's dark, obviously, because like I said, there is like murder and mystery, but it's not in a way that is very, you know, violent or like scary. That's why I'm saying I think this is actually a good beginner dark romance, because again, there's definitely dark things that happen in here, little twists and turns, but it's not anything that's like too outrageous. I just think overall it was a really well done book. And like I said, the spice in here, I was listening to this audiobook while I was driving. My jaw was on the floor. It was just really fun, and it's been on my TBR for so long. I'm so happy I finally decided to pick it up because I had such a great time with it. And like I said, perfect book for the upcoming spooky fall season. So if you need a new book to add to your TBR, I mean, I'm sure you do. Why else would you be watching this video? This book is actually very, very special to me. This is a special edition of it, by the way. I own 3 different copies of this book, but that is Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. This is a why choose romance. It's capture captive. So basically our main girl Roxy, in the very beginning of the book, her dad owes these guys, you know, the Vipers, there's what, 4 of them? Tell me how, I can't even remember. There's 4 or 5. It's Kenzo, Diesel, Ryder, and Garrett. So, okay, yeah, it's 4 of them. Her dad owes them money and he's like, well, I don't have money, but do you want my daughter? They see her and they're like, yeah, she's hot. We'll take her. Listen, is this book a literary masterpiece? No. But is this book one of my all-time favorite books? Yes. Is this the first dark romance book that I ever read? Yes. But anyways, you know, of course, she's like, I don't want to be here. And she lashes out against them. But then she's like, oh, they're hot. And then, of course, it turns into a why choose. The spice in here is absolutely over the top, crazy. Listen, just look up videos about this book and you'll get all the tea. But it is just, it's the first dark romance book that I ever read. I literally knocked it out in like 2 days, which for me and a book this long is like unheard of, but I couldn't put it down. It was one of the first books I checked out when I got Kindle Unlimited, and it just changed me. It's just a book that's really special to me. And honestly, if you haven't picked it up, I think just go for it. See what happens. Completely switching gears into 2 books by the same author that I will sing her praises, that she is the dark romance queen. No one writes dark romance like this woman. Her writing is sublime. She is a master at her craft. And that is, of course, the GOAT, Pam Godwin, my absolute beloved. I couldn't just put one book in by her, so I put in the one that's really popular and the one that needs even way more hype. So first up, Sea of Ruin is her dark historical pirate romance, and as soon as I heard that that's what this book was, I was like, I absolutely need it. I did listen to this book on audio because it is a longer book. I knew I had to pick it up on audio. I did think the audiobook was very well done. So this book follows Bennett, who is a super badass pirate, and she actually ends up on the run from one pirate only to end up being captured by, his name is Ashley, who is a pirate hunter. Girl Bennett goes through hell and back in this book. It's definitely, again, very dark. A lot of stuff happens on page, but I just ate this book up like candy. And this book has so many twists and turns. It's truly incredible. This is another book where I've never seen a single person not like it, because I think it's just so captivating. I think that's the perfect word to describe this book. And it's so just interesting. You can't help but be invested. It's another book that I think is incredibly unique. I mean, come on, dark pirates. And it's spicy, and again, it's Pam, so the writing is so good. The characters you can't help but be obsessed with. Bennett is just such a badass. This book just starts off with a bang, and then it just keeps going. It never stops. It never gives you a moment of peace, but it is just so effing well done. I think if there's like really one book in here or one author that I really would be like, you must check out, it's absolutely Pam Godwin if you haven't yet, because she is the best. And then quickly, the second book that I want to talk about, this is a special edition of it, but this is Knotted, also by Pam. This is the first book in her Trails of Sin series. It is a trilogy. Each book follows a different couple, but they're just so fun. Like, you have to read them in order. Like, please don't just pick up Knotted, read Booted and Buckled as well. It's one of my favorite series ever, ever, ever. This book is actually very special to me. This is a book that even though I love it with my entire heart and soul, I never know how to describe correctly. So this book follows Jake and Connor. Jake and Connor this is a friends to lovers book. It's definitely like it's an always been you soulmate situation, and this is a book where something very, very dark and disturbing happens right at the start, and then they are separated for a period of time, and then they find their way back to each other. The traumatic event that happens at the start of this book literally sets up the whole plot for all three books, because it is something that happens to like a group of people. So we have Jake, his brother, and then there's Connor, and then there's her brother. So again, it's the whole group of them. Our girl Connor is overcoming being SA'd. That's what happens to her during that tragic night. And then Jake, once they're reunited, when they're adults, is helping her overcome that, and you know, some of the trauma that she has in her past, and obviously he has trauma as well. And this book is just all about healing and finding each other, and then also getting revenge as well. You know me and a revenge plot. It's slowly building up hype, but the thing is, it needs even more hype because it is truly sensational. And I don't really read a lot of other dark cowboy romances that are out there. I really haven't yet, but my one friend has, and she just says that none of them are as good as this. So I think this is the standard for dark cowboy romance. Pam is just the standard for dark romance in general, and if you haven't picked up one of her books yet, what are you doing? Pick them up. Pick it up. God, I feel like it got so dark out. Like, how long have I been sitting here talking to you guys about dark romance? But last but not least, I have a duet, and this is the duet. Like, it wouldn't be a dark romance recommendation video without me talking about Haunting and Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton. This is also a book where, like, I feel like if I didn't put this duet in here, people would leave comments and be like, where's the cat and mouse duet? And it's like, yes, of course I've read the cat and mouse duet. I love it. Both of the books have audiobooks out now, which is great, and they're duet narration as well. I haven't listened to them yet, but I do have Haunting Adeline on audio, and I would love to re-listen to it eventually. This book, you probably know, follows everyone's favorite stalker, Zaid, and he sees our girl Addie, who is an author, at one of her author events in a bookstore, and he is just like, yes. And he literally stalks her, and the series, again, very, very dark, for sure, very spicy, but I just found it to be so captivating. It's another one of those things where I loved how Addie lived in like this gothic mansion that was like passed down to her because, you know, it was her grandma's estate. And there's also, you know, a plot that goes, you know, that side plot with her grandma and the letters that was really interesting. And Hunting Adeline book 2 in this duet is definitely much, much, much darker than book 1. Zaid is, you know, the reason I think why he's such a lovable stalker is because he also tries to take down the bad guys. This is another, you know, duet that I low-key think is like over the top, but they do have such a strong relationship. Like what Addie and Zaid go through in this book, they fight for their HEA, and it's just, again, really well done, and I see why this book is so popular. Personally, would I say this is like a beginner dark romance? I don't really know, but everyone really picks this up as their first dark romance because it's so popular. Again, definitely check trigger warnings because it's not, you know, like a light, easy read. Like a lot happens in here. It is a tried and true. It's an all-time favorite. And of course, I have to put it in here. And I mean, any chance to show off my Zaid, isn't he delicious? All right, people. That felt like a long video. I feel like Editing Kelly has a lot to trim down. So that's it for this video of dark romance recommendations. Like I said, we have some new faves in there, some all-time classics. I love dark romance, so please let me know if you would like a video with even more recs. I would love to give that to you. If you like this video, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It means the world to me. Please subscribe, please share this video, and also, as always, all of my other social medias are linked down below, so you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads, to really stay in the moment and keep up with what I'm currently reading. I think that is all for today's video. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!